These are my 5 people from my audience. Virginia's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate has been trending downward since the peak rate of 7.2% December 2009 through February 2010. Jobs have become very limited across the country, as we all know. Stock markets are dropping, as well as jobs are being eliminated for our vice presidents, and a lot of the local businesses have been going out of business. With this factor going on, I recommend people going back to school. For the simple fact, it's the best opportunity for you to actually become something more than what you're doing now. A minimum wage job only pays for so much, but when you have children, it's not going to help you as lot. When you were a child, what were your dreams? Were you thinking of an accounting major, or were you thinking of the medical field, or were you looking for business administration, or maybe a firefighter, or an EMT? These are all jobs that we're going to need in the future, especially in the medical field, since the baby boomers are coming up in age. Teachers as well is something else you might want to look at, especially since we have the younger generation that are coming up that we need to progress their education. So when you go to class, you want to look at the degrees that you're interested in, look for the prerequisite classes as well as the classes that you'll need before you go into your prereqs. When you're picking your college, you want to look about the benefits as in how much the credit hours are going to be, as well as what courses they have that you could transfer to a university. I know William & Mary and ODU have a guideline of what classes they'll accept for the local community colleges, as Rappahannock, Tyler, as well as Thomas Nelson Community College. After you look at these classes, you have to take a placement test. And the placement test, according to Thomas Nelson, is that academic testing, the results of the assessment will be used for the college counselors to determine whether you have to have the required economic ability to admit to college and decide placement into appropriate courses. The test pretty much consists of English, math, and science when you take it. The questions get harder as you progress on the certain levels. I do recommend you taking the placement test that I found at collegeplacement.com. It has several levels that can help you improve your English as well as your math and science before you go in. It is going to be overwhelming at first, but it's going to be better for you with your score. After you do your placements, of course, you're going to talk to your counselor, and you're going to look at the classes and the hours. So look at your schedule before you enter there, so you know what time of the day that you can actually take time away from your kids as well as your job. I know my employer has given me enough information that I can work around my class schedule and so on. A big advantage, though, for especially at Thomas Nelson, they have a lot of online classes. As you guys are familiar in my audience, I am taking a public speaking class online. It does take a lot more time to prepare yourself, because you have to make sure you have enough time for your family, work, as well as preparing this. Thomas Nelson has a lot of mixture of classes, morning and evening. The pricing is going to depend on how many credit hours you have. I know my employer told me if you go to the Human Resources Department, they have a program where they pay for your classes and you only pay for your books. Look at Thomas Nelson's website. The tuition rates for the fall for Virginia residents as well as military were $111.50 per credit hour, and out-of-state residents were $288.10. Most of your classes are going to be 3-hour credits unless it's a science, and then you're going to have to take a lab, which is more like biology, anatomy, and so on. I looked at the College of William & Mary rates, and they are much higher. For one semester for an in-state student is $6,566, and out-of-state is $17,981. If you believe that's a lot of money, it is. So why start at a regular university when you can get the lower rates at a community college, which is pretty much about the same? After you find out what school you're going to go to, you definitely want to do the FAFSA form, which is the federal government that helps people pay for their college. It's called a Pell Grant. You go to the FAFSA, you apply for your PEN, and that's where you start. And then you'll have a reward, and it'll tell you how much it pays for your classes, and you can also buy your books at the local bookstore. I would not recommend that, since the books are expensive at the bookstore. You can get them cheap on Amazon, Craigslist, as well as the bulletin boards at school. A lot of the students are trying to buy or get money for the books they purchase. That's one thing. So my conclusion is, I'm hoping that persuades you enough to actually reach your goals. Why do you want to settle for low money when you could be making something. And if you are a single parent, which is pretty much what my speech is about, since I am, I was looking at, for example, for my kids, making sure that they know just because I'm a single parent, I can't go back to school and provide for them. So I only have 2 questions. If you're afraid to be laid off and you do not like working for pennies, then you need to go back to school.